All right. Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast, Boots on the Ground, number 7. Do you enjoy a baseball cap?
I do from time to time.
How about one that's free?
Oh, that's the best kind there is.
Go to
do they make kinds that aren't?
Yes, they do, actually.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
The free ones are my jam.
Yep. So if you're interested in doing that, go to marketing@axontire.com and you will get a free hat. Just give them your details, tell them who you are, tell them Moving Iron Podcast sent you. Go to marketing@axontire.com and you will get a free
Tremendous
baseball cap. So
tremendous.
it's like going to a farm show without going to a farm show.
It is.
So that's the thing.
It's like going to a farm show from your chair.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs at Valley Transportation. Our goal is to help you reach yours. And no matter how you buy your ag equipment, whether it's from a dealer, an auction, or a private party, AgDirect can help you finance it. If you apply online at agdirect.com, you can get all your financing options there. So check that out for sure. That's an edit.
That might be.
All right. Aaron.
Yes.
If you were going to go out and do some stuff right now, what do you think you would do if you're going to test some rules?
I would probably need to know what rule number 1 is.
Hey, what's rule number 1? What's rule number 1? Party? No, not parties. No, it's not party.
It is not party at all.
But it should be.
It's not. So, Aaron, I'll tell you what. This is the first time that I really want to pass the reins over to you and let you understand what's going on. Why don't you introduce this week's guest?
We thank you for being on the podcast. Please stay tuned for previous. Okay, I can do this. Well, today for our Boots on the Ground segment, we have Ed Geihsler, right? Geihsler?
That is correct.
Yep, who is a used equipment guy with CanEquip, red, blue, and a little bit of orange out of Kansas and pretty much all over Kansas.
Don't ever disrespect that state. It's the great state of Kansas.
Well, it's south of a better state, but anyway.
Canada.
Thanks for being on the podcast, Ed. How you doing?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me on the show.
You bet. Thanks for joining us. Why don't you give us a little bit of backstory about how Ed got to where he's at today?
All righty. Well, thank you. And, I started this position about 4 years ago. I came from Western Kansas. I grew up on a farm and, then I became an ag lender. And, I've always loved machinery. And I got this opportunity from the Mineharts. They asked me to come on as an appraiser. And, the one thing, and I'm sure you guys are well aware of this, is developing relationships and communication. And I think that's what really brought me on and really enjoyed that.
Right on.
Right on.
So we're getting ready. The Boots on the Ground segment is such I think to me is one of my favorite segments that we've come up with here on the Moving Iron Podcast. And the reason for that is you're getting a background of what's going on in a different part of the world to kind of give that perspective from a different dealer group, a different manufacturing line, a different things like that. So whenever you hear Easy,
you are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
That's going to give you the lead in to really talk. We're going to talk about what's going on here. So Ed, there's a million things going on right now in the marketplace, right? So you guys are a Case dealer, a New Holland dealer, obviously, right? So C&H, and then you've got a Kubota line. You got some Case construction. You got some other things that are going on there. I mean, that's a big bowl of soup that you guys got going on there. So I guess
big umbrella.
It is. So when you're looking at that, I mean, with all the things we see happening right now with inventory, with interest rates, you run down the list. There's a million things going on right there. What do you see happening right now from a used equipment perspective? And then how are you taking a look at that from a used equipment, manager perspective?
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a struggle, and the one thing, let me go back to last year when we didn't have a Magnum, we didn't have a T8, out on the lot, and we're having to use a customer's tractor to set up planters, and that is the one thing that I guess the ownership, the general manager, the regional managers came to me and said, Ed, we can't have this. We've got to find those tractors, and what came down to it was the relationships with John Deere, Massey Ferguson, all the other dealers. It really didn't make any difference if you're red, purple, blue, green,
Right.
I think it made us all a lot closer, and we're all in this together. And the one thing that we do want, we want the farmer to win,
Right.
And that I think that was our ultimate goal. As far as the struggles, it's Mother Nature, I think, is dictating this market right now, and we were blessed here in Western in Kansas overall. And we cover a good part of Kansas and then the southeast part of Nebraska with 14 locations. And, the new equipment, we're seeing some pretty good stuff, as far as hay and hay equipment, but the tractors, they're pushed back, and we'll put them out there for retail and we're still getting them canceled, and everybody's in the same struggle. But I just go back to communication, relationships, and I think it's strengthened everybody.
Hey, Ed, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to say thank you to you guys, on the green side. I don't know that there's any enemies, we're all after the farmer, but it's just one of those things. We're in it together, and John Deere's, trading me equipment. I'm trading them equipment, to satisfy our customers.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's just trying to make a customer happy. It's not a matter of, oh, you're making too much, I'm making too much. None of that. It's, can I please just have it?
Right.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I think it just comes down to, it's not necessarily a margin anymore. It's supplying the farmer with their needs right now.
Right.
Yep.
And that's what we're after.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, a question I have, Ed, where you guys are blue and red more so than the orange piece, have you noticed where, and I'm just incredibly intrigued about this because my folks live in southeast Nebraska. I drive by Grand Island frequently. Piles and piles and piles and piles of red combines, no yellow, no swathers, that kind of thing. Have you noticed different availability throughout the C&H umbrella versus red or blue?
I'd say right now, the case side's probably a little bit easier to get. We're seeing a lot more of those. I guess that's kind of a loaded question, Aaron. I apologize for kind of going around, but it seems like we get sprinkled in a few. It's kind of like a teaser.
Right.
We get a couple of these, couple of those. And then when we get those emails going, hey, this has been shipped, it's coming this way, it's really good. The bad thing about it is it's always the one things that we want. We want the Magnum, we want the T, that isn't there, know. But, it just comes down to being able to do dealer trades.
Yeah.
And it used to be, and I think in the future, guys, and I don't know if you guys will agree with me, it might come down to, you want a Magnum, I'll throw one in. We may be into that situation, with an overabundance. So when you ask the question, are you ready for the used equipment? We've got to be on our toes,
right.
For when this market changes, and when is it going to change? Man, who knows, so.
Yep. So, I know you're a used equipment guy.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said, do you know how I know you're a used equipment guy?
How's that?
You got a whiteboard behind you. Any used equipment guy's got a whiteboard behind him.
Yeah.
Hey, I do too.
Well, there you go. No, I mean that's the thing. That's the whiteboard behind you. You it's like a permanent sticky note, right, of things you got to get done. And that's one thing I used to do all the time. I whiteboard the hell out of stuff, man. I mean, I'm always whiteboarding things, looking at values, talking about this, that, and the other thing, and just going through all that whole strategy.
He is. Everywhere Casey's been looks like that chalkboard on A Beautiful Mind where Matt Damon just walks up there and solves the math. Everywhere Casey's been looks that way.
Yeah. When you're looking at used equipment, Ed, I mean, kind of run through your philosophy and kind of how you look at it, and what are some of the key factors you're looking at for the used equipment marketplace?
Yeah, as far as buying, is that what you're talking?
In general, just in general, yeah.
Well, like right now, we do all the appraising, so, if it comes from a farmer, I'll tell you what, you use the book, we use Iron Guide Fleet, in order to appraise our equipment, and here's the one thing that's really wild is you can throw that book out the window,
Sure.
it comes down to comps, and then it comes down to, the needs. So that, I'll tell you what, we're probably 20 or 30%, I suppose, above retail, book and, getting this equipment. As far as trying to find equipment, we're just kind of looking for those magnums we used to have those specifics, it had to have the suspended front axle, had to have leather, had to have guide.
Right.
Wow. Has that gotten relaxed? Now, does it have 4 tires? Does it have a steering wheel? That's kind of the one thing.
Yep. Does it run and drive? We'll take it.
Yeah. That's right. And the thing about it is when we start looking at this used equipment, when we stamp our name, Can-Equip, on that piece of equipment, we want to make sure that goes through the shop, and we want a quality product that goes out. I mean, just like you guys, it's like, hey,
sure.
When you put your name on it, you got to stand behind it, and you want a quality product out there, the farmers to stand up in all types of the weather.
Right.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yep. So you have 14 locations. I'm sure all your locations are exactly the same, cookie cutter, perfectly. I mean, everyone's looking for the exact same thing. Whether you're in Dodge City or Harrington, I'm sure you're probably looking for the exact same things.
Very similar.
Yeah, exactly the same, right?
They almost mirror each other.
Right. Yeah. So how are you handling that diversity right now with the equipment shortage that we see right now?
Well, the one good thing about it is if it doesn't work in one area, you just get it on a truck.
Sure.
Easy
sure,
set. Right?
Yeah.
But here we go with $5 fuel, so there's another challenge.
Right.
So, the one thing that we always look for is it just comes down to quality equipment.
Yeah.
I think back east, you can use some smaller tractors. When you look for hay equipment, you look for the 14 to 16 foot heads. When you go out to, Western Kansas, the wide open prairie, you're 19 foot heads all the way across, and then, we don't use a lot of tillage, in Eastern Kansas, and it all goes to, Dodge City, Garden City, and that's the location for that. Right. That is probably the best thing for Can-Equip is the location. If you don't like it here, it's just like the weather.
Yep. Just move stuff to wherever it fits. Cause you guys, you really do have an incredible diversity.
Yeah.
When you go from the eastern point to the western point, I mean, it is night and day difference.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
no,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, you're exactly right, Aaron. It comes down to, if it doesn't work there, but the good thing about it is it's just technology,
Sure.
And we've got, we can advertise, we can show, we can Zoom, we can, FaceTime, we can do whatever to get that piece of equipment right in front of the farmer. That's what's nice.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. I was going to say, like we were talking about, whether you're in, did you guys go all the way from Topeka?
Yeah, we've got Topeka, and then we go Ottawa, as far as Ottawa.
Okay. Yeah. So go to Ottawa, I mean, all the way, and then you go west all the way to what's your most west store?
Garden City.
Okay. So there you go. So, I mean, that is diversity. I mean, you talk about growing up in Kansas my whole life. I mean, going from that spectrum to Garden, I mean, that is just, it's Saturday and Sunday. I mean, they're totally different days,
Absolutely.
And, there's nothing different about that. You go from a very wet, well, I'm going to use quotations here, wet eastern side of the state to a highly irrigated side of the state.
To us, it's very wet.
even the irrigated side in Kansas is pretty wet. But I mean, it's if you really start putting that perspective, you start looking at the differentiations in machines, not just so much. I mean, you're talking like the size of combines start to change between what you see. You got Class 6 combines in the very eastern part of the state, and you've got Class 8 combines out in the western part of the state. I mean, so as a used equipment guy, man, that's a whole different. That's just a huge gambit. I mean, just the combines alone, being able to value those and look at those, and then how are you using those used combines and different size tractors and everything from across the spectrum, whether you're talking 250 horsepower tractors or 400 horsepower tractors out west. I mean, that's just a whole nother thing. So how do you balance that spectrum?
I don't know if there's a crystal ball. I really don't. We were so short on combines last year. It really didn't make any difference if it was a Series 6 or an 8. It just came down to whether or not you had the combine. You're exactly right, though. I mean, it is 250 to 340 horsepower tractor. Not a whole lot of Steigers in Ottawa, in that. And, you get the big Steigers, you want a 380 horsepower Magnum out there in Western Kansas. I don't know that there's ever a crystal ball, whether or not or where this equipment goes.
Right.
It's just our business system that these guys are shopping for, we just place it in there and go. I know that's not probably the answer that you're looking for, but I just really don't see a crystal ball, as far as where we place equipment. It's like, we set a 310. I just sent a 310 and a 340 to Ottawa, and then we sent a 380 and a 340 to Western Kansas. It just comes down to a tractor. Right. It might be
what's available. Right? Yeah.
It might be an overkill, for some of those guys, but it might be a sweet fit, but it's just trying to supply for the American farmer right now.
Sure.
And making it work.
Yep. So talk about that Kubota line for a little bit. So that Kubota line is, I mean, you can talk about the versatile Kubota combination of some higher horsepower stuff, but really that bread and butter Kubota stuff, if you're really in that marketplace, is that 100 to 175 horsepower tractor. What are you guys doing with that tractor and those trades that are coming in there from a used equipment perspective? How are you handling that?
As far as the Kubota line is only at 3 locations out of the 14.
Okay.
So they pretty well stay right there around the Topeka, the Wamego, the Dodge City area. We don't flood those out too far. Let's say if we get a Kubota, in Hutchinson, and maybe this is what you're after, is we'll put it on a truck and set it that way, because we know that they have a customer base that follows that, and we've got a better chance of marketing it there. But on the other hand, when you get it out there on the internet, it really doesn't make any difference where that stuff's at.
Sure.
You're getting the leads from wherever they are,
Yep.
And so, and that's the one thing, we've got Massey Ferguson up in Marysville, so if we get a Massey in Ottawa, we're usually trying to get a truck underneath it and heading it that way,
Yep.
So, we do try to get that, and then, if we have a New Holland product, we do like to push those over to our New Holland stores.
Yep.
So, if it depends on kind of what it is.
Yeah,
sure.
So when you're looking at from a used equipment process and how that works, how when you're looking at used equipment, how do you start that? I mean, obviously everyone goes out and looks at Tractor House, Machinery, Pete, Fastline, all those kind of things, and kind of judges that kind of thing. But how are you truly assessing what you have versus what you need?
Right now, I guess it's kind of dictated by the season. If that's what you're after, if we're really close to harvest, we're going to start looking for those combines. Right now we go for some good used sprayers. We're getting ready for the hay season. That's one thing that we're looking for right now. I think everybody's got an overabundance of balers right now on everybody's lot, I think the windrowers are probably going to get hit really hard right now, since we got blessed with a little moisture there for a while. Maybe we would have had way too many on the lot, if we wouldn't have gotten any moisture and way too many combines. If we continued to get this rain, I don't know what the magic number is, and I wished I did know that, but
you and me both.
Man, I tell you. That's just the one thing, if we have a combine go down, that's probably the one thing that we want to make sure that we can do, is get one out there. That's their livelihood and their crop, and that's payday, so that's the one thing that we strive for. As far as valuation or anything like that, it just comes down to the quality of the product.
Right. Sure.
We all run across it's an auction unit,
Yep.
or,
Right.
it's the second tier, third tier, farmer, or, a beginning farmer, so, there's always some of those. I would say that if we're looking for anything right now, it's probably that tractor that we can retail under 150,000.
Yep. No, yeah, I can hear that. So when you're looking at the overall spectrum of what you have happening there, I mean, from the ag lender, and you've got to be taking a look at interest rates right now, and you've got to have some level of concern.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think I sleep at night. It's one of those things of, you want to make sure that you have the product, but on the other hand, you want to make sure that you're in them right.
Sure.
But the high values right now, it's kind of like, we've got to get them on the lot.
Got to get them on the lot. Yeah.
Whatever the customer wants, say yes. Just get it in here.
That's exactly right. And what's the right price? We're going to know here a lot more in 6 months.
Right.
And I don't know what you guys are, but everybody's that I talk to, they're saying that we're going to be in this situation for 2 years.
Yeah.
Is it 2 years? Is it 6 months? Is it 30 days? It kind of depends.
Yeah. I'm in the, I was in 23 going into 24 that this stuff was going to change. And with this whole Ukrainian-Russian war thing, it's kind of kicked me out about another year. So I'm 24 going into 25. So that 2 year thing from now, to me, it makes a lot of sense. But I've got to think manufacturers have got to figure out some way to
catch up.
I mean, like Aaron's point, talking about stuff in Grand Island and those kind of things. I mean, every factory in North America is the same way, whether you're in Jackson, Minnesota, or whether you're in, wherever Illinois for the deer stuff. I mean, there's just piles of stuff sitting everywhere, and they're missing a bearing, a chip, a whatever, and sooner or later, a belt. Yeah.
A belt, and there's 10 of them at Napa.
Yeah.
But that's not how the supply chain works.
Right. Yeah. But you would think that there would be something, there's some point in time where that's got to switch.
Yeah.
And whenever that switch happens, I mean, the overall perspective of used equipment is going to greatly change. I mean, you're talking about value systems that are just going to change overnight. When you wake up the next day and you've got 3 or 4 tractors sitting out there, you don't have really anybody on those tractors, that's when things have changed.
Yeah.
And to me, I mean, who knows when that's going to be, but whenever that does happen, you're going to see, because I don't think it's going to be this gradual, increased value as far as demand goes. It's going to be a sharp turn.
You're exactly right. It's going to be one of those things like you get the email.
Sure.
Availability is about to turn around. Here we go. Supplier issues are fixed. Bam. You got about 15 days to fix all your sins out there, or they're going to rear their ugly head.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I'd say when you can start ordering for dealer stock and not dealer retail.
Right.
Yep.
Then you better start looking at your used inventory pretty fast and pretty close.
And I'd 100% agree with that. That's when you can look at that, they're like, hey, we got 25 extra build slots. You guys want these?
Yeah.
That's when you're like,
oh,
yeah, we'll take all those. But God, we better whatever we got sitting in the lot right now is just, we got to take a hard, long look at what we got there.
You're absolutely correct.
So that's going to be a big shift in the paradigm that we see right now. So I guess as you take a look at that paradigm that we see right now, I mean, I think this interest rate thing we have is a very short-lived thing. If you take a look at, once the supply chain gets caught up and everything gets squared away and those kind of things, this inflationary period that we're in is going to change, but up until then, what are the conversations that you're having with customers, or your sales guys are having with customers about interest rates, and what is that? How are you looking at things differently now than you were maybe 6 months ago?
I think right now I think it's just developing that relationship with their customer and going deeper in with them, and we've probably got 9 Magnums on the lot right now, and 47 salesmen. it's one of those things that you talk to those customers and you develop that relationship, and you see what their needs are, and we try to make it fit for them. As far as interest rates, interest rates are interest rates, and look at the commodity price. There's always something that outweighs something. So, but no, I think it's just building a relationship and communication. That's how it was. So
it's a crazy time, a million things in your face right now. And if you're in the used equipment side of the business, it's just as crazy now as it was in any other spectrum of that. So
worse.
Yeah. Well, maybe to some extent, but it's a tougher environment probably to some extent than it was in others. So, Ed, before we shut things down, any final thoughts you want to throw out there?
No, the one thing that I want to say is, thank you for having me on, and you're exactly right. It's exactly what we've been talking about. It's the struggle, but who's going to win in this? It's going to be the farmer, because we're all going to pull together, and it's all dealers, and we got the farmer at their best interest, and that's what we're after, and I want them to know that, and it's not about making money. It's about making them, or allowing them to get their crops out of the field and doing their work. So, I just see them all as a partner, and I see you guys as a partner, even though you guys have, the other color, green, I continue guys, I consider you guys as friends,
Right.
and then if you guys need something, it's not a cut and dry thing. We just need to all work together and get through this.
Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The used equipment markets and the used equipment guys, it's one of the most homogenous things on the planet, right?
Yeah.
We all kind of run together, and
everybody's kind of
colorblind. There's no real what's what I'm looking for. There's no real
romance. Romance.
There's no real differentiation between what you're doing and what I'm doing. It's the same thing.
I've developed awesome relationships, and I think that's what I enjoy so much, and it goes deeper than machinery. It goes deep, it goes to, I want to know who you are, and man, that just fascinates me so much, that we're after one goal, and we really care for what each other, like for supper. That's what I really like, so.
Exactly.
Yeah. But thank you.
Thank you, Ed, for being on the podcast, man. Ed, if folks want to reach out to you and get more information about what you're doing at Kenny Equip, what's the best way to do that?
You can either email me at ed.geihsler@canequip.com, or you can call me at 785-404-7114.
Right on.
Wow.
Aaron.
Did I butcher that?
Aaron, what's the best way to get hold of you?
Okay, you can call me, text me, 308-760-1193. I am on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, probably whatever else by my name, Aaron Fintel. And you can email me at aaron.fintel@MovingIronLLC.com.
Right on. And I'm Casey Seymour. You can find me at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Moving Iron LLC. Go to LinkedIn at Moving Iron Podcast. And I need all the subscribers I can get to go to YouTube and subscribe to the Moving Iron Podcast. Check that out. If you're interested in going to the Moving Iron Summit, which Ed, I hope you come to that this year, check that out. So go to MovingIronLLC.com, go to the Moving Iron Summit tab, check that out. And, you can sign up there, get all the information about speakers and whatnot. That's what there. But if you need more information, send me an email at MovingIronPodcast at MovingIronPodcast.com, and I'll make sure to get back to you. You can send me a text message at 308-765-0495, or you can call me that same number as well, and I'll get back to you when I can. So with that, I am Casey with Aaron and Ed. Let's go with some iron, folks.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.